All right, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about secret societies, but we're going to do it with a little bit of a twist. See, we're not actually investigating the Illuminati themselves. Instead, we're breaking down a critical review of this really popular, and yeah, super controversial book that claims they basically hijacked a world. So the whole book really boils down to this one huge question. Is there some hidden elite secretly running the world? I mean, think about it. It's a question that has launched 1,000 conspiracy theories, right? Kept people up all night scrolling the internet. Is there really a tiny group of people pulling all the strings?
And this book? It comes right out and says, yes, absolutely. But that's not what we're here to do today. Our job is to look at how it makes that argument. We're going to use a critical review as our guide to kind of pick apart the story from the actual evidence, or maybe from the lack of evidence.
Okay, so first things first. What makes a book like this so hard to put down? The review we're looking at says it's not just about the ideas inside, it's really about how the story is told. And that's its secret weapon, according to this review. The writing is just gripping. It's brilliant at blurring that line between what's a known fact and what's just speculation. It pulls you into this mystery where you're constantly asking yourself, wait, is that part real? So the review points to a few key things that make it so powerful. It's got this really engaging story, a huge historical scope that connects the past to what's happening now, and, it just raises these massive questions about power that are kind of hard to ignore, even if you don't buy the whole premise.
The big idea holding this entire thing together is the New World Order. The book claims this isn't just some fuzzy concept, it's a real plan, a long-term goal to create a single world government run by a secret elite. Everything in the story is basically leading up to that.
And man, the timeline is just epic. It starts way back in 18th century Bavaria, where the Illuminati supposedly got its start, connects it to huge events like the French Revolution, and then brings it all the way into the modern world, linking it to finance, the media, and even pop culture. It's incredibly ambitious. Okay, so that's the stuff that pulls you in. But now, let's flip the coin. The review gets down to the real question. How much of this amazing story can you actually prove? What happens when you start looking for the facts?
And what the reviewer finds is pretty interesting. It's like for every plus, there's a minus. On one hand, you have the gripping story, but the critique, it feels more like a sensational thriller. On the other hand, you've got this incredible scope, but the reviewer says it's all built on pretty shaky ground, with not a lot of solid evidence to back it up.
So yeah, that's the heart of the criticism. The review says the book relies way too much on speculation, on rumor, it's got this super sensational tone, and it makes these huge, broad generalizations without really having the receipts to back them up.
I mean, look at this breakdown from the review. It's pretty stark. The book's foundation is seen as, 70% speculation, 25% rumor, and only about 5% is verifiable fact. That's a pretty telling ratio, right?
And that broad generalizations thing is a really big deal. The review points out that the book kind of paints everything with this same brush. You take these huge, complicated things like governments or massive corporations, which have all sorts of people and competing goals inside them, and the book just simplifies them down to one single bad guy working towards one secret goal.
All right, so we've got the good, the page-turning story, and the bad, the lack of solid proof. So what's the bottom line? The reviewer's final verdict. Should you even read this book?
And the review boils it down to this. You just have to know what you're getting into. This book is a conspiracy thriller. It is not a scholarly history book. So if you're someone who loves a good mystery, who likes to question things, you'll probably have a blast. But if you're the kind of person who needs to fact-check every little detail, it's probably going to drive you crazy.
And that really is the perfect summary of it all. The review basically says the stuff that one person finds absolutely fascinating, the huge leaps in logic, connecting all these dots, is the exact same stuff that will make a skeptic just roll their eyes and call it a total exaggeration.
But here's where it gets interesting. The review doesn't just say, it's not proven, don't read it. It actually argues that there's some real value here, even for a total skeptic. It's about the bigger question the book forces you to ask yourself. And here it is, the final takeaway from the reviewer. Maybe the book's greatest gift isn't that it gives you all the answers. Maybe its real job is just to make you ask the questions. It's like a spark, right? It gets you to think, and think critically, about who really holds the power in our world.
So, okay, the book is probably more thriller than fact, but it leaves you with this one nagging question. If you strip away all the talk of secret societies and just look at the world, who do you think is pulling the strings? Who really has the power? And that is a question that's definitely worth thinking about. Thanks for jumping into this with me.